Hey everyone, again, this is Dwight with Max Moving Training, and we got another podcast going on today. We have Bryan Bloom in the building from Mover Search Marketing. How are you, Bryan?
Why, thanks again. This is going to be fun.
So tell us a little about yourself, Bryan.
Yeah, so right now I'm the founder and lead at Mover Search Marketing. We're the preeminent SEO and pay-per-click digital marketing company for movers. We have about 40 clients all over the United States, been doing this for 5 years. And one of the things that's different about us, and some of the people listening might know this about me, but I was a mover for, like everyone listening, I was a mover for 11 years. I grew from scratch moving company in San Diego. And when I sold it in 13, it was the largest local moving company in San Diego.
Nice. Now, when you say largest, tell us about how many crews, how many trucks?
Yeah. So it's been a while, but we were doing about 3,500 moves a year. And we were pretty integrated. So if you think about, I started out as doing just locals, right? I didn't even know what I was doing. By the time we sold, we were the largest local mover, but we were also a really large Wheaton agent. We had our own hauling fleet, big warehouse. We did international moves. We were military approved. We did custom crating, white glove delivery, FF&E moves, office, commercial, and of course, residential, local, long distance, intrastate.
Okay.
And we did projects, government projects, and things like that. So it was a pretty fully integrated company from the standpoint of moving, sold materials.
Okay, awesome. So what does that marketing kind of look like for 3,500 moves a year?
Yeah. So when I got into it, it was the end of Yellow Pages. I don't know if you remember Yellow
I've
Pages.
seen them.
Okay, so yeah. So back then when I started, the marketing I went, I'm like, how am I going to get my name out there? And all these Yellow Page people came to me and said, for $3,500 a month, you can put your company in the Yellow Page. And in San Diego was a big metro. There were like 7 different books. I'm like, oh, I can't afford this. So it was the start of the internet. And I said, you know what? Let me do guerrilla marketing. So I did other things that I've listened to some of your podcasts. Like we had a referral network with real estate agents.
Okay.
We got in San Diego, there were 50,000 apartment units. So I learned how to get into all of the institutional owners who owned them to recommend us. But the number one thing we did was we dominated online. So what happened was, today it's not a big surprise, but that was the earlier part of it. And people were using Google, but not like today. Today, it's much stronger, more competitive, but stronger. And so if you type San Diego movers or thousands and thousands of keywords related to moving, we showed up. And the proof of that was, so we went through the big recession, 2009, 2010, 2011, and we doubled in market share while people around me went under. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's essentially what happened. And then when after we sold the company, I like sitting behind a computer a lot more than getting crews out. I mean, that was never really my thing.
Gotcha.
15 trucks going out. I mean, it was beautiful, right? The trucks go out in the morning, all 15 going to different places. You're monitoring them with the GPS. But just something about, I just love sitting in the office. So our company is fully remote. I'm in a home office. After COVID, we said, let's don't have an office anymore. So we're a pretty good sized company. We have a huge team of content writers, technical people, head of content. We do design and development, but it's all remote, right?
Gotcha.
As opposed to when you're a mover, you can't be remote. So it's fun. I like it.
And it keeps your overhead down too.
It's just different. It's just, it's more of a lifestyle thing. I'm a few years older than you. So, I'm and this really fits us. And I love being in the moving industry, and every client we have ultimately dominates in their market. So, and we have a different model. We don't just, we're not going to work with 300 movers because we would be overlapping in markets. It's not what we do.
Yeah. With that being said, if you want to tell people what Mover Search Marketing actually is.
Yeah. So most people know us from we're digital marketing. So we've got 2 sides of the house. They're integrated, but different. We've got the SEO side, which is organic search, finding online, right? And we can talk about, if you want, how that's different, but we also have the paid side. I'd say, so the paid side would be Google ads. It could also include Yelp ads or things like that. But the primary best source of leads, if you're going to pay, would be Google ads, not Google Guarantee. And then the secondary one would be advertising in the map pack, which you can do. But as far as inventory and quality, it's Google ads. And about 70% of our clients do both. We have some that just do ads and some that just do SEO. And to obtain that, we, as good as we are with SEO, the side that does pay-per-click, it's an extremely sophisticated auction market. And if you've done it, or any of the listeners have, it's simple, but it ain't easy. And so we've, over time, engineered and learned how to squeeze out the most ROI from both sides. They're different. They work together because they're moving. And having that expertise in moving is everything.
Gotcha.
So anyway, that's how we're set up. We do both sides. And then we have design and development, but we don't just do movers websites. We do them when they're a client, but we have a full team of designers and developers that are constantly working. There's always something going on our clients' websites.
No, that's nice. That's definitely nice. So as everyone knows, that this is definitely like one of those training podcasts. So, we want to always be dropping gems, and that's the reason we brought Bryan here today. So Bryan, what was something that you want to go over today?
Yeah, so we had talked a little earlier, like we talk to people in our company all day, every day that are movers. And there's a couple of things that people ask about all the time, which, one of the things would be, we kind of talked before, some people call it the map pack, Google Business. Now it's called Google Business Profile. Also, there's some salient points that I think they're very specific to movers. And if you want to go into it, it would be like what I call the moving funnel, and then how you achieve the positions for that. And, okay. I don't know, do you want to choose one to talk about first? They're both going to be relevant to everyone.
Yeah, if you want to, I guess, highlight the moving funnel, that actually sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, so some things that people search for don't have much of a funnel. And I'll give you an example. Like if you need a plumber, when you need a plumber, you search plumber, you have a leak or something. People aren't searching, what should I do if my faucet leaks, right? How-tos. There's a very specific, or a doctor, like you're ready and you search. Moving is different. Moving is, and everyone listening can relate to that. Anyone who ultimately hires a mover starts searching online when they're thinking about moving. And we can talk about what that means when they've decided to move, and then when they're looking for a mover. They go through the whole funnel. And think about it. If you were at, you're a mover and let's say you're at an event in Albany and you hear someone say, I'm thinking of moving to Albany. You'd be like, let me give you my card because I'm a mover, right? Mm-hmm. Or if they said, hey, how do I, I'm moving and I don't know how to hook up my utilities. Oh, you're going to need a mover. Here's my card. Or if they say I need an Albany mover. So that's the funnel. It always starts over here. They're searching cost of living, climate, things to do. What's it like to live there? Best places to live, neighborhoods, suburbs. We have a list in that funnel of about 80 topics. And so I'm going to, for a second, if you go back and think about it, that's the funnel everyone goes through. And sometimes they search online in each of those pieces. So those give you multiple bites at the apple, because our entire purpose is to bring someone in that funnel to your website, not someone else's, right? So okay. That funnel at the front part is really big, meaning more people are searching, all the way down to the last one where they might search Albany long distance movers. That has a smaller monthly search volume, but we can all agree it has a higher conversion rate because they're ready to move. So there's just a way to think about it, is catching the people all the way through the funnel with all kinds of topics. And in a minute, if you want, we can talk about what those pages look like, because there's a lot of, you hear things like blogs are dead or do this or do that. And we're here to dispel a lot of myths, because we can tell you, because we have the data across many clients over many years. So we know what works for movers. So that's the moving funnel, is capturing people along there. The other thing to keep in mind, and then I'll stop because you might want to ask about it, is the way Google will decide. This is a really, I hear other SEOs talk about this, and a lot of potential clients, when they come to us, there's a lot of confusion about what is SEO. Should I do backlinks? Should I do this? But I'm going to tell you right now that Google will tell you what's in their algorithm. Like there's actual documents you can read. And one of the things that your website has to do over time is it has to be considered an authority. So what's an authority? An authority knows everything, right? Right. Mm-hmm. And the biggest authority on the internet might be Wikipedia. I mean, have you ever searched for something and Wikipedia shows up as a,
oh yeah.
Answer? Do you go to it and you go, oh, that's the most beautiful, well-designed website. I love it. It's like the goofiest, it's like an encyclopedia. It's not even that great, but it has massive authority and it also has trust, right? So if you think about when Google is deciding, should I show your website for Albany movers or those kinds of keywords, it's trying to find the authority. The authority would have all the answers about someone thinking about moving, decide everything about moving. So it's really difficult for a website to just rank for Albany movers without ranking for all those other things, because that's the way Google thinks. They're looking for the authority, and the authority has all the answers. So that's one piece of it. So we bake into that each piece. I hope that makes sense.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I guess the question comes down to, let's say that four or five of my competitors in the Albany market all has SEO.
Yeah.
And obviously we all got different companies or whatever the case is. Now I've seen that sometimes you can't really change the keywords. So, you know, if we're all in Albany, hey, we're all gonna, if somebody says Albany movers, we're all gonna pop up as Albany movers. So what is that separator? What helps rank one company over another, if that's the case?
That's the ultimate question. I'm going to try to explain it. So, but we want to keep it in really easy sound bites, because I will say that SEO is very simple, but it's not easy, right? And if you think about, well, what does that even mean, right? You could explain to someone how to someone wants to learn baseball, and you can explain, I'm going to tell you how to throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Simple. Do this, do that, stand here on the mound, but it's not easy to actually do, right? Maybe not the best analogy, but SEO is like that. So there is a methodology that we can do, that we understand and figured out, that is an SEO methodology. Now you put on top, and I'm going to get back to your answer, like how does Google decide? And that's kind of what I'm talking about. There's four things that will make total sense that Google looks for. So this is in their algorithm, and there's no way for someone to look in and go, what score did I get on this or that? What happens over time is you experiment, right? So we're a science lab. We have like 40 clients in cities all over the US. So we can see what happens and try things. And we now we know what works. And things change, but those four things are expertise. So let's just name them. This is what Google uses to decide, why should we let Max moving be above Joe Schmo's moving or whatever, right? And it's expertise, experience, authority, and trust. And so what does that mean, right? And how do I know if I have it? That's a conversation for a different podcast, but this is what Google's looking for, and it's going to make total sense. If you have something on your website, no matter what it is, content, backlinks, it's always ranking it on those four things. So experience, well, what does that come from? Well, one of the things is, if you're going to choose an SEO company for moving, everything that's on your website better look like it's someone who has experience, because the algorithms can figure it out. Like, this was written by someone who doesn't know moving. They wouldn't use that term, et cetera. So they can adjust for what's the real experience. Expertise is just the actual, is it correct? Okay. And if you want, we can drill into these a little more. Authority. So trust makes a lot of sense to people. Just, do I trust this person? And Google has indicators to determine if it's trust. Backlinks, reviews, what users do on the website. There's things that they can measure. And an authority would be something like, if you think about it this way, 2 articles on brain surgery, one written by the preeminent brain surgeon from the Mayo Clinic, and one, maybe it's written better. Maybe it's actually a better article, but it's written by a high school student. which one do you think Google's going to choose? And I'm talking about maybe the high school student wrote a better article. Maybe that the expertise, the content is better, but Google knows who wrote it. So the authority, it's going to push the Mayo Clinic up. So what ends up happening is that you have to understand these 4 things and know how to apply them across the website. It's also why it takes time. You don't trust someone right away, right? That is a big question, hopefully brought down to like a 4-minute explanation. That's what Google's looking for. And we can talk a little more about, if you want, how they measure it. But if you don't have the moving expertise, I guarantee it. Like, I'm talking about the digital marketing company. In today's world, you're going to get your butt kicked. You just are. You know, I was a mover for 11 years, so I know what an FF&E move is. We know we know all of the different, everything about moving, storage. We know what vaults are. I mean, think about all the terms you have to train people in, right?
Right.
How's an SEO company going to write about that if they've never done it? So that's
now,
another.
I guess the question comes down to, now with SEO, are you given a tank of words for common searches, or is it something that you actually like, well, hey, I can create these terms. I think these terms to get, some hits.
Yeah. So the thing with us is we already know ahead of time. So when we bring on a new client, the toughest, not the toughest part, but the work the client does is helping us understand geographically what their priorities are, right? So if we have a client in, LA, I don't know, would they rather, chronologically go after Glendale, Beverly Hills? I don't know that. We do all the research across the geographic locations. The client prioritizes them, and we start building authority and trust along with content in each of those cities for all of the various parts of the funnel. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then, but as far as Dwight, knowing, we don't ask them if they say that they do white glove delivery and they want to get more of that business. And many movers here might know what that is, but that's a very great business. It's a commercial side of the business, right? So it's not up and down like residential. And, you can work with interior designers, manufacturers. I mean, we did a lot of that work for us, right? So if we have a client that tells us we do long distance, we do storage, we do FF&E, we do white glove, our content team knows how to optimize that for the city. We get those pages out there, you start getting the users. So, okay. When we don't need the moving company to give us ideas. We already know what they are. However, there are situations, where they might know something that is specific to their location. Hope that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. So I know that you only like to work with one particular moving company in a particular market. How far does that market expand in your eyes?
Yeah. So that is something that it's kind of a good and a bad thing for us because it limits our growth. But there's about 70 metros in the United States that we've identified, right? Small, medium, large. And we'll work with more than one mover as long as the market's large enough, but probably never more than 2. Like in New York City, we could work with 3 movers. There's like 900 movers there, right? So if we had position 1, 2, and 3, no one's going to care. But when you get down to a smaller market, like, I don't know, Austin, Texas, or, maybe 700,000 people, we really limit it on the SEO side for sure. It's just okay, so that way the moving company knows we're not just going to bring in 5 companies to compete with them.
So how, I guess a moving company, let's say you chose 3 in New York City, like how far or how much reach could that SEO like really hit on when customers are searching?
Oh my God. Okay. Well, you're a mover, and most of our movers do, they're either independents. So think about the long distance side. So as far as we talked about the funnel, now let's just think geographically. So I don't know a lot about the city that you're in. I've been there, but let's pick a different metro like Tampa, Wade at 2 College. He's in Tampa, right? He's a client. So not only as we build the content most of the users are going to come from his metro region. Okay. But if you search we got a client in Chicago, safest neighborhoods in Chicago, he's probably 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, huge search volume. Well, I don't know, that person might be from Nashville. right? So, or they might be from a different part of Chicago. So if you think about there's a funnel strategy, there's also a geographic strategy. And almost all of our movers can move people to and from different places. So
Okay.
I forget exactly the question you asked, but there's a
So I guess like let's say your Tampa client, Wade,
yeah.
um how like okay, will his authority stretch to Orlando or will his authority
Oh,
stretch
okay.
to
I'm sorry. I see what you're saying. Not directly, but the stronger, think of the Wikipedia example. Wikipedia could publish an article on anything and it'll go to first position, right? So when we're working with someone in Tampa like Wade, over time he's the dominant mover in that area. But because he's dominant, if we want to write an article like Tampa versus Orlando or moving to Tampa from Houston, he's going to rank very high quickly once he has the authority. And in movers speak, that's what movers do. That's why working with someone who understands this, right? Because there's lanes that are very strong in people moving, say from maybe a lot of people from Albany move from Albany to Manhattan. That's a common thing, or Albany to Long Island, right? Or Long Island to Albany, or Albany to Houston. And by the way, we have tools to even figure that out, to know, what's more common that we needed to figure out. It has to do with playing with census data and tax data, how people file their taxes. But that's how you solve that part in, so try not to think of it like, hey, if I'm in Albany, how do I get people from Long Island? Well, you just grow your authority and then you can pick off the topics.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. Now, obviously, the talk of the day was, I think we had it on our talk show yesterday or so, was 2 Men in a Truck. Like, what do you
Yeah.
think those guys are doing for if they
Oh,
are doing SEO?
oh my God. 2 Men in a Truck. When I had my company, they were, so 2 Men in a Truck is like Starbucks in coffee. They have, I don't know, 300 franchisees. The second they bring someone on in that market and add, so this is a great example of authority. I love that example. If they get a client in, I don't know, Orlando that they didn't have, and they add that franchise page to that already strong website, it's going to show up in the top 3 for Orlando movers. Because the website, it's a perfect example for a 2 Men in a Truck, is so strong, so recognized, has such authority and such trust. Now, they don't do what we do. They're not trying to grab people in the funnel, which is, thank God for my clients, right? Because they do strong. But they don't really get it, but their SEO is off the charts. But we beat them all the time in the map pack. And, we have clients with 30,000 keywords that all the time, but they're very, very authoritative.
So is it the more money to buy more keywords, or is it like how can one, become more, I guess, get that number one spot? Like,
yeah. So I'm gonna go back a little and if you think about, so let's get off for a minute to like an article that would be, let's just pick like Tampa crime rate or something like that. That's a keyword we want to rank really high for, because if someone's thinking of moving there, they're probably researching it, and you tend to find less people visiting there would search it than moving there. But all the way down to, if you go to Tampa movers, that's someone moving. But let's take, say, Tampa crime rate. When we have an article like that, one article, it can rank for 1,000 keywords. So it's something that people don't really understand. And I want to take a minute and talk. We'll come back to what's called the helpful content update. That's Google's latest major algorithm, and it's important for people to know what that means. But if you can have one page on a website, whether it's an article or whatever, not just ranking for one keyword, it can rank for unlimited keywords. So you might see a website with 100 pages stronger than a website with 50,000 pages. It has more keywords because it followed what we said: experience, expertise, authority, and trust. Okay. So Google decided it's better content. And when they reward you, game over. and it grows. It's like working out at the gym. You know, the first day you go to the gym and you work out super hard, and you know, you're younger, so you probably have a natural six pack. But like, you know, say someone's trying to lose weight and I go to the gym the first week, I'm like, I don't have a six pack yet. I worked so hard. Screw this. Well, it doesn't work like that, right? And it takes time. And then when you get your six pack, it takes less time, the same amount of energy to maintain it. SEO is the same way. There's a lot of work to push past that activation energy. So it is something that takes time, because that's how it works in real life.
So if someone, I guess if someone created their own website or whatever the case is, like, is there, I guess, something special that makes those words stand out versus someone just putting text on their website?
Yeah, that's the stuff that we do. So it's really difficult to explain specifically, because if you think about it, we have, you know, really detailed article procedures. We have a fully trained content team that all they write about is moving. So to try and explain, okay, well, what is it, this or it's that? It's a lot of things, and it's not like Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. It's actual science behind it. But I don't know if I could, you know, it's those four things, but in the end, it does sit in the words. And, you know, there's entities, there's internal links, there's keywords. Everyone talks about keywords, but keywords are only one part of it. You might only have 3% of the page with actual keywords. But there's a lot more than that. I mean, these are algorithms that look for things. And yeah.
You know, that makes sense. So what do you think about ChatGPT? Do you think that's going to take over, or is that going to only help assist?
Yeah, so we get a lot of questions about this. So ChatGPT. So first of all, AI has been around for a long time, and you know, if people have heard about Surfer SEO, Jasper, there's tools that have been out, but ChatGPT broke through big. You know, they have a lot of money, etc. So our opinion of ChatGPT right now is it's going to change SEO in the following way. It's not going to replace it, because one of the things ChatGPT can't do is it doesn't have real world experience, and it regurgitates what's out there. But it's getting really good and it's getting predictive. So what we're hoping, and if anyone out there wants to look, there's a great example. There's a website called The Healthy Journal. It's one of many, and a lot of money went into it. And if you Google it and you put it in an SEO tool like Ahrefs or SEMrush, about 7 months ago, they used ChatGPT and some other AI tools to produce hundreds of pages. It's called The Healthy Journal. They got up to 7 million keywords, 7 million. So everyone was like, oh my God, game over. It's going to replace everything. They're down to like 50. So here's what happened, Dwight. ChatGPT, you can use it for a lot of things, and it is good for a lot of things besides content. You can have it write a Python script and coding and all this stuff, right? So what it's not going to do is it's not going to be able to write in a way that an experienced content team could. It's good for stuff like in the old days, you would Google like, what's the temperature in LA? And you would have to go to the website that's the weather site and look it up. Whereas today, it just gives you the answer, right? So what's going to happen is the lower value answers, AI is better for that. What time is it? What time is the sunset? It just comes up. But should I move to Albany? It's just, that's not a ChatGPT thing. So, gotcha. but we are looking for ways to use it to make us more efficient, because there are some lower level things that we need to do. And if we can decide which of those things won't be harmed by using ChatGPT, we will. But at this point, we've just kind of experimenting with it. It's not going to replace SEO. It's going to enhance it. And also, you know, before, people freaked out about all of the things you're like, you know, talking to the voice thing. What's this? Where's a good place to eat? But that, if you look at search volume on Google, it hasn't gone down. There's just more searches.
Okay.
So I don't know if that makes sense. It's going to be here. It's going to get better, but it will not replace experience, because it can't experience, and it doesn't have any niche, any expertise. It just has to regurgitate. And that brings us to something else that, if you don't mind, if you're Google right now, and now ChatGPT comes out, think about how many more billion pages people are going to make, right? It's easier to make them. So they have a real issue, which is it's super expensive to index the entire web. So last August, they came out with something. I'm going to look right here what it's called. It's called the Helpful Content Update. Really important. And it didn't hurt any of our clients. It actually helped them, but it messed with a lot. And so here's what they said. We don't want pages. And this is when they added the experience to the EAT. It used to be just expertise, authority, and trust. Now it's expertise, experience, because they didn't want AI just making a bunch of pages. That's not going to help Google. And at the same time, it costs a fortune to index these pages and run them through the algorithm. So if Google goes on your website and sees a bunch of pages that don't get traffic and don't rank for keywords, instead of just letting them sit, they actually have a score, and your website score goes down. So part of what we do with every client is we're constantly looking through every single page, old pages. And if they have what's called thin content, it's just a blog someone wrote, but no one ever goes to it, get it off the site. Because the Helpful Content Update literally said, we won't just ignore it, we're going to penalize your site. By the way, if you were an authority, you wouldn't have a bunch of stuff that no one reads, right? It all fits.
Right.
What?
Yeah, and that's one of the things I mentioned to Jay Burnham from Seven Figures Academy, is that like even his stuff, like, you know, is starting to rank on Wikipedia. Like you're looking for moving stuff and you're like, I'm like, what? How is your stuff on Wikipedia? You know, and it's, you know, he's made himself authoritative figure by all the content that he's posted.
You got it. You got it. And then people can vote for it, like with backlinks. And if you want, we can talk about those, or we can talk about the map. There's so many pieces to answering your question. Well, why am I not number one for this, right? But it always gets back to expertise, experience, authority, trust. So if you always think of it that way, in the way you would think about it, all Google's doing is going, how do I turn what you're thinking into an algorithm?
Gotcha. And we call that the 4 things pretty much Google is looking for.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if someone wanted to Google search, so Google has a document, you'll love this. It's called the Search, I'm looking at it right here, Search Quality Evaluator Guidelines. So Google actually, so they have 10,000 people on their payroll, 10,000 throughout the world, that their job is, you know, because they have all these algorithms, right? Well, they actually have 10,000 people manually rating websites, and then that feedback goes into the algorithm and it iterates and gets better and better, because they want the real world results to match the algorithm. And that document, it's 179 pages, and it literally walks you through, instead of listening to a bunch of people do this, do that, don't write for the search engines, whatever. Now it's 179 pages. We get it, we read it, we understand it, but it will walk you through bad example of authority, good example. And within it, you see the EEAT is in there 129 times. So I'm telling you, if Google's telling you 129 times, that's what they're looking for, you need to listen. And so I know I'm kind of being sarcastic, but that's what it is. It's not all this other stuff people talk about, like don't do this, do that. Do that. Build those 4 things. So
It makes sense.
Yeah.
So what, I guess before we can get ready to take off today, what's some things that you feel like with the economy and the way things are going that movers could be doing to get up? Because I'm hearing a lot, like it's still not picking up, it's still slow. Like, I don't know what I can do. You know, some people going out of business, you know, and it's been a rough year and it's only going to get rougher. So what could people be doing?
Yeah, I mean, I was there, you know, 2009, 2010, I think were the worst. It's bad now, but we had bank failures, foreclosures, short sales.
Yeah.
We're nowhere near that, but it's slow. I mean, let's face it, interest rates are up, less people are moving. The crazy thing is search volume isn't down that much. It's down some. I'm just talking about on our clients' website, right? Because less people are moving. It's not down as much as I would expect, but we know that less people are moving. So we've had very few clients, very few that are really freaked out, because if someone's been with us a while, they're getting a bigger piece of that pie. I wish I could tell you more about the economy. At some time it'll come back. And the other thing is this, like when I had my moving company, right, call people 6 times, every lead you take serious. But I would say you want, we're an SEO company, right? So you've got both sides you can work with. If you can't afford SEO, maybe you do pay per click, but you really gotta, I don't know today how you could survive without some kind of digital marketing. I just don't know.
Now, what is your thought on moving companies doing ad rolls?
Doing what?
Ad rolls, Google ad rolls, where pretty much somebody clicks on your site and now they go to Facebook and now they just see your company popping up, or they go to YouTube, they just see your company.
Retargeting.
Yeah.
Many of our clients do it. It's really inexpensive and it has a very low conversion rate. So it does convert some. You're talking about like, I was over here and I'm all over Facebook and I'm seeing moving over and over.
Yeah, you go to YouTube and now I'm on YouTube too. And it's just
Let me ask you that. How often does it work with you?
well, I haven't tried it yet, but I've been.
No. What I mean is, as a consumer, every once in a while, you've probably clicked on something, right?
Yeah. And I feel like when I see it, like, okay, let's say I go to Home Depot and now I'm on Facebook and Home Depot ad is popping up on the right side. And I'm just like, oh man, like, why are you following me? And then I'm on YouTube and a commercial comes up and it's Home Depot. Ah!
Every once in a while it works. So the difference is, if you think about it, if I'm searching for a mover and that ad pops up, Google ads, is a way higher chance I'm ready for it. But if it's just following me around, the chance is lower, but there's still a chance. So it is, it doesn't really move the needle huge, in my opinion. Just like there's so many people are like, I need to advertise on Facebook and Instagram. They're not search engines. So you might just think about it. If you've ever bought something, and I have too, on Facebook or Instagram, it was a product. Like, oh, that looks cool. But if a plumber was in front of me every day, 24 hours a day on Facebook and Instagram, what's the chance? Like, I don't need a plumber. So I
Gotcha.
it just, the data just doesn't support heavy spending, but retargeting is inexpensive. It's not expensive. And so a lot of our clients do it, but it's, you're lucky if you get some people that convert, but they do. They do.
Okay. And you opened up another subject matter. I won't go too much longer, but basically the social media package. What is your thought on that? Like, do you think that movers should be doing like ads on social media?
Well, once again, we don't have very many. We almost tell them, okay, if you have a budget, put it into Google Ads. Google Ads works. People are literally searching. That's why the ad showed up. Albany movers, Google ad, click, as opposed to just think about it. And I know social media companies push this so much on everyone. You need to do it. You need to stay relevant, not with ads. The data just doesn't support heavy conversions. But what I will say, every client we post really relevant topics on their social medias, mainly Facebook and their Google business profile, which is also social media. That increases your trust, your authority, and your relevance. Because think about it,
you just wouldn't boost those posts that you put on the pages.
You can, but once again, and that will increase the engagement, which is a signal of trust and authority to Google. So it's one of those things that if you were just doing that, it probably wouldn't help you that much. But as an add-on, an important one, right? Because we're producing think about it. If we're writing about crime rate in Tampa and your Google business profile is Tampa, and that article sits on your website, it's getting traffic, it's posted on your Google business profile, and they're both Google products and they work together, the whole thing is getting stronger. And it's just a web and it works. So that's where, in my opinion, the value comes. It's social media is a brand building, authoritative trust kind of a thing. Don't think of your social media. You could spend unlimited amount on Facebook ads. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference that someone would need because it's not a search engine. No one goes to Facebook and says, Albany movers. It's not a search engine.
Right. If they just see your post, normally they might say, well, hey, maybe I'm looking for movers, but it's basically word of mouth. Like, I've got a lot of people on Facebook that just says, hey, we're looking for movers in Troy. Oh, call Max Moving Company. And you kind of get that reach. And when they tag your company name, if you're the owner, you get the notification, hey, somebody's talking about me.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's zero value, but there are articles, like I think we were looking last week, we have a client in Chicago, and safest neighborhoods in Chicago. They had 40,000 people on that article last year. That's one article, 40,000. How much would you have to spend in Facebook? And they're looking for the safest, they looked for the safest neighborhood. Now they're on the Movers website. Just one example. Versus how much would you have to spend in Facebook to get 40,000 people to a page?
That's a lot.
That's all we're saying is we're always looking at what the data supports. Not that you shouldn't advertise on Facebook, but it's no different than anything else. If you can get the users over here and they're coming to your website, why are you going to all that hassle, right?
Right. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And as Nextdoor is starting to step up.
Yeah, they see.
Yeah, they're actually starting to do a lot. What is your take on that?
I don't really have much of an opinion. There's a lot of other places, for example, Yelp is still a good place to advertise. And the reason is Yelp is a search engine that people go, not everyone, many people hate Yelp, but I'm saying it's like if you had maxed out your budget and you needed more moves, Yelp is a place you could go. It is a search engine for certain services, and it works. I don't know what Nextdoor are they trying to compete with, like Angie's List and
well, Nextdoor is more like a neighborhood type of setup where basically they're trying to, small geographical area or maybe city or so like that, and they're like, well, hey, you could start doing ads, and people that's using the app, looking for services, they might see you.
Sure.
And I think it's starting to make well, they're actually a publicly traded company, I think now. So it's starting to make a little headway.
I think I've actually asked on Nextdoor before, like if someone knows a good, house cleaner and stuff, like why not? And Yelp is like, they're all like that. But, for the day-to-day, heavy duty, enterprise level, institutional growth and dominance to your website, SEO, there is nothing that comes close. Just once again, just take Wade's side. I don't think he minds me saying, I think that he had like last year, 500,000 users. That's in 1 year. Think about the brand building. Those people remember. That's 500,000 in Tampa, right? And, he's not the only one like that, but I'm saying the cumulative effects of that they've been on two colleges' website or PDX Movers in Portland or whatever, people remember. And he's not paying every time, it's organic because he's invested the money. So I just would tell people, rethink, like in today's world, if I had money, I would be doing SEO, paid ads. The other, I'm not saying the other things aren't valuable, but the lever that you get out of those two, nothing comes close.
Makes sense. All right. So I hope y'all guys didn't get overwhelmed. It's a lot of information, but if you definitely want more information, Bryan is the man. He knows his stuff. So definitely reach out to him. He is on Facebook. And if Bryan, you want to give me your information, I'll put it down below so people can reach out to you and kind of pick your brain.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. And I just realized we went for a whole hour. That was fun. So they can reach out. It's Mover Search Marketing. And if they want to email us, the best email would be accounts, ACCOUNTS @Mover Search Marketing. And someone will grab it and we'll reach out and talk to them.
All right. Awesome. So, all right, everybody. So definitely, this was a great episode, Bryan. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, it was fun, Dwight.
Again, if you have any questions for me, y'all can find me on Facebook. Again, the Facebook group, Running a Profitable Moving Company. And we're out. See you later.